everybody, welcome back to the arcade. Today we got a really awesome game. This is Cal.50, Caliber 50 by Romstar. I'm wearing my Overtime Arcade shirt for a reason, as I kind of got this from Charlie. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but man, when I got in this hobby, this was one of the grails that I had. It's one of those games for me that, you know, you play it on MAME. So I remember this as a kid. I played at the Meadows Mall at Aladdin's Castle. I remember exactly where it was. I remember walking in, seeing Cal.50, and I remember just being blown away because I love Ikari Warriors 1, 2, and 3. Great games. You know, in my head, 3 stands out because of the animations. But Cal.50, in my opinion, at the time, the reason it stood out is because not only you have rotary controls, these are actually optical joysticks, but you could do things like there would be animals walking around the jungle and you could shoot them and they would die, which is kind of dark, but at the time that type of stuff didn't happen. You know, the animation was amazing. If you got a flamethrower and you hit a guy with it, they would burn up in flames. That stuff's all commonplace these days, but back then games didn't really do that. When you shot something, they didn't stay on the ground. And Cal.50 is like, I mean, it's a really short game. It's only like 15 minutes long, but it is action packed. You got jets flying over, shooting at you. You're getting in planes and shooting at the people below. There's just so much stuff going on, and the music is awesome. The board is pretty big, and I think that, you know, Romstar, when they made this game, they just did, instead of going for like 30 minutes or an hour long worth of game, they just pushed the limits and they used up all the space they could and they made the best 15 minutes that they could. And that's what you get. Cal.50 is action-packed, man. And for me as a kid, that's what stands out. I just remember, you know, the animation and how cool it was compared to like Ikari Warriors. Like it felt like a step up at the time. And turns out it's really rare. I would look this game up. I played it on Genesis, which kind of sucks. And I played it on MAME. And in MAME, you got to remap the controls to like a button so that you can turn, because it's, you know, they don't have a rotary joystick. Now I know that some guy, I'm sorry, I should know his name. He reproduced like the Ikari Warrior joysticks, and I'll bet that works. But that's probably only for a MAME setup. And that's probably pretty cool. But playing this game on MAME without some kind of rotary or optical joystick, it sucks. It's almost unplayable. I don't want to do it. And so when I was building MAME cabinets, and at the time it was like, well, I'm just going to have one MAME cabinet and that'll be good enough for me. I would play this game like, God, that's not, man, that's just not the way I remember it. And I went to look for this game. And Cal.50 is really hard to find. And it's not hard to find. The board is actually, you know, fairly cheap. You can get the board easily. The problem is finding these joysticks. And that's the number one problem that people have when they find this game. It never had a dedicated cabinet, so it was, you know, put into any machine that you could find for it. It was a conversion kit. And so Charlie G found this in a Frogger cabinet, and he posted a video about it, and I was like, what? Like, that's a grail for me, man. And it's a grail because I just need the joysticks, really. Like, I could find the board, no problem. But the joysticks, that's the problem. And so I got the joysticks, got the board, got it all working. My buddy here locally in Vegas at the time, you know, I bought this from Charlie, wasn't really in the mood to doing any restores or working on arcades in general. As you know, if you get into this hobby, you'll realize you get burned out. And my buddy, he had this cabinet in his warehouse and he wanted to get rid of it because, you know, he was changing jobs, and there was a real risk of this cabinet getting thrown out, which nobody wanted. So he took the cabinet, I gave him the Cal.50 stuff, and he did all the wiring and everything. He wired it up for me, and you know, I could have done it, but I would have needed his help even if I did it myself. And so I always appreciate him for that. I'm not going to name his name because he hates that stuff. But he did that, and then, you know, so we got the game working, got the joysticks working, but nobody reproduces the art for Cal.50. So this, I think, was from like arcademarquees.com or something, and they don't really make art marquees for like putting in games. They do it so that you can like frame it on your wall, which is kind of cool, right? Anyway, they were the only ones that had Cal.50. And then I couldn't find the CPO for a long time, even though Escape Pod now does it. This side art is from Escape Pod. Could be better, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I did have an opportunity to get some new old stock side art, but it was expensive, and I already had the Escape Pod version. This is new old stock. This control panel overlay is new old stock as well. So this is about as nice a Cal.50 as you're ever going to see. There's a local barcade here in Vegas. They have a Cal.50, and it's just rotting there, man. Makes me sad. I tried to buy it from them, but it's just sitting there dying, and it's sad to see. I never thought I would own this game. And since I've owned it, I've gotten a lot of people asking me to trade for it or buy it outright. And now that I own it, it's like I can play it any time. You kind of start to take things for granted. You know, when I got in this hobby, I would have killed for a Cal.50. Now that I have it, it's just, you know, kind of here. And you kind of lose appreciation for the rarity of things and nostalgia of things. This is an awesome game. I think this is better than any Akari Warriors. And anybody who disagrees with that probably hasn't played this, is my guess. Because this game kicks ass. This is a tube swap monitor. This is about as nice as a Cal.50 as you can get. Anyway, let's check out some gameplay. Let's check out some Caliber.50 gameplay on a Caliber.50 arcade cabinet. Yeah, we're gonna get those bullets. I see the upgrade. let's do a quick cabinet review. This is Cal.50. It was a conversion game. When I have conversion games, I like to keep them in dynamos. That's just, something that I like. If it's a conversion game, it's going to the dynamo or I don't want it. That's just how I feel about it. Anyway, this is a reproduction marquee, which looks really good. Tube swap monitor, Cal.50. And this bezel is new old stock. I was lucky enough to find this on Facebook, and I paid a lot for it. And I think Escape Pod, they might be working on this or whatever, but this one is new old stock. And this control panel overlay is new old stock as well. New buttons, new start buttons. Joysticks are original, obviously. And this is a HS1 dynamo cabinet reproduced by Boulder Arcades, who's no longer around, unfortunately, but their stuff is top notch. So this is about as nice a Cal.50 as you can get. Alright, let's talk about these unique joysticks for a moment. And a lot of people think, well, I could play Cal.50 because I've got the yellow Ikari Warriors joysticks. And they're not the same, believe it or not. I wish they were, because if they were, Cal.50 would be a lot easier to come by and everybody could play it. So these green ones, they're actually optical joysticks. See that? So when I spin this, it goes through those little holes in the brass there. That goes through the sensor, and that's telling it which direction you're going. And this is, kind of reminds me of like hard driving or race driving. Racing games do this. Super Sprint, etc. They go through a sensor, hot rod. And that's how Cal.50 works. So I actually don't have a Ikari Warriors to compare it to, but I'm pretty sure Ikari Warriors doesn't work this way. It's all optical. So these sensors are seeing the blackness pop in front of it, and that's what's doing it. And then when you move it, this thing, is don't know how to explain it, but man, these are a pain in the butt to work on if they're not working, So they've also got a little USB, not USB, but they got a little card here that you got to plug in. I've been lucky enough to own 4 of these joysticks in my time. I sold the other 2 to a hardcore collector who really wanted the Cal.50. Yeah, those are the joysticks, and they're super unique, and unfortunately the only way to play Cal.50 dedicated. Alright, so there you have it. This is Cal.50. Good luck trying to find one in a barcade. I've seen it. The board is pretty easy to find, but the joysticks are the problem. If you do find them, they're going to be expensive. Is it worth it just to play Cal.50? Not if you didn't grow up with it. I have huge nostalgia for this game. I never beat it in the arcade. So, back in the day, if you had $5 in quarters, you probably weren't going to spend all $5 trying to beat Cal.50. You were spreading it around. And, when I remember this game, none of my friends remember it. None of my family members remember it. I remember it at Aladdin's Castle at the Meadows Mall in Las Vegas. It's a really cool game. Very similar to Ikari Warriors, in my opinion. Better, Hey, I wish I had Cal.50, Ikari Warriors 2, and Ikari Warriors 3 all lined up. But space is an issue. Man, what a cool game. Get a chance to play it. Worst case scenario, play it on MAME. It is what it is. Still a great game. And there's not much else to say about it other than that. It's one of my grails. Never thought I would get it, even though I wanted it. I tried to buy it from a barcade here and it didn't work out. But hey, you get to know people in the hobby, and you make friends, and you never know what you're going to find. So here it is. I got my Cal.50, and I hope you can get one someday too if you're an arcade collector and you like the game. If not, it's a cool game. Check it out. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.